Okay, we'll start. So before we are going to start the today's session, so I need to give an announcement for you. I think you are aware with your online quiz. So in here you can see in the seventh week, so you have the first assignment. Okay, so this quiz mainly based on the corporate governance, what we have done up to the sixth week. That means now we are in the fifth week. So there is only another 1 week after the sixth week. So you will have the first assignment. Okay, that means your quiz. Okay, it will include 25% mark. Okay, 25 marks for your final assessment. Okay, and after this quiz, we are going to start the ethics part. So we are discussing now these days in the corporate governance part. And then after this quiz, so we are going to start the ethics part. And then Himalsal will be take the remaining, that means the risk management part in this course module. Okay, so please be aware. So after the next week, so that means the seventh week, so you will have the online quiz. Okay, so that means this is mainly tested on the corporate governance. Okay, so that is the main announcement I need to highlight to you. So not next week, after the next week. So this is fifth week, no? So after the fifth week, so you will have the that means the seventh week. So you will have the online quiz. Okay. Okay. So today, last week's actually we have discussed so the board board members, so and also their duties roles like that way. And today we are mainly focused on the board committees. Okay, so this is the topic we have discussed. So under this course module, the board committees. Okay, so now in most companies, so especially yeah, we will talk about the big companies. So the main board of directors doesn't handle every single things by themselves. Okay, මේ companies වල in a board of directors ලා මේ හැම activity එකක්ම බලන්නේ නැහැ. Okay, so I will tell you what I am going to highlight here. So instead, so they break up some of the important areas into small groups. Small groups. So these groups we are calling the board committees. Okay, so whatever the main activities, main things in the board need to do, so they are dividing these things into small groups. So these groups we are calling the committees. Okay, so these committees mainly focus on a specific topic like risk management and also audit, sometimes remuneration. So so these are the things we are going to discuss today. So these committees mainly focus on these type of areas. Okay, so it's a bit like how normally in your school, so you might have sport committee and also cultural committee, ne? එහෙම තියෙනවනේ, and also mainly in the prefect board ඉන්නව නේද? So then, so what is the purpose of having these type of committees in your school? Sport committee එකක් ඉන්නවා, cultural committee එකක් තියෙනවා, prefect board එකක් තියෙනවා. So what is the main purpose in here? Hmm? So each handling their own areas, but they need to report to the normally to the principal. Okay, දැන් මේ principalට මේ හැමදේම මේක කරගෙන යන්න බෑ, මේක හැම committee එකක්ම බලන්න බෑ. So then, so they are dividing into small committees. Okay, so like sport committee, cultural committee, likewise. So then, and also prefects. So these people are very important in the school. So then they are handling these things, and then they are report to the principal. So the same scenario happen in the companies as well. So board members cannot do this everything. So then as a result of that, so they are break up these important areas in the company's important areas into small groups. Okay. So these groups we are calling the board committees. Okay. So the thing is actually there is an important thing. What is the thing? So, but if we are going, if we have already divided these committees into separate areas, it doesn't mean the board can ignore their responsibilities. අද දැන් ප්‍රින්සිපල් කෙනෙක් ඒ විදියට කමිටිස් බෙදලා දැම්මට හැබැයි එයාගේ රෙස්පොන්සිබිලිටිය මෙතනදී ඉග්නෝර් වෙනවා කියලා සලකන්නේ නැහැ. Just because of the main board has normally in the comparison the committees, so it doesn't mean the board can ignore their responsibilities. The board එකට තමයි sole responsibility තියෙන්නේ for the operational efficiency, so they are dividing these things into separate areas. Board එකට තමයි sole responsibility තියෙන්නේ, so but they are dividing these things into special groups. Okay. So in the company's perspective, so the main board is still finally responsible for everything that happens in the company. Okay. The main board of directors ලා තමයි මේ හැම දෙයකටම responsible whatever the things happen in the company side. Okay. So why we have normally then තේරෙනවා මොකද්ද මේ committees පත් කරන එකේ purpose එක. So this simple thing is, so these committees only help them to manage the things better. Okay, so whatever the activities, whatever things board of directors need to do, so they are dividing these things to small groups called committees. So then they can manage the activities better. Okay. Okay, so now you can see there are these there are some committees normally in the companies have. So you can see in the main board committees nomination committee and audit committee, remuneration committee, and risk committee. Okay, so these things are very much important for the companies as well. The Higgs report recommends that no one individual should serve all committees. Most reports recommended that the committee should be staffed by non-executive directors and preferably independent non-executive directors. What's the meaning of this one? So you know the Higgs report, so the famous Higgs report. So it is reported on the corporate governance in the UK. So having these type of committees has actually improved the way companies are governed. Okay, so that's the thing you know. So then Higgs found, so when companies use these committees well, so it gives the board more confidence that important duties are handled properly. Okay, so in here they are mentioned. So by using these type of committees, so companies can uh, manage their duties properly. Okay. So what is the meaning of this nomination committee? So we are discussing this each one in detail. So the nomination committee, so you can see responsible for recommending the appointment of new directors to the board. Okay. So directors ලා appoint කරන්න nominate කරන්න තමයි මේ committee එක මේන්ම තියෙන්නේ. So we are discussing in these things in detail in later. So just take an idea roughly. And the second one is audit committee. So this is very much important for a company. So arguably the most important committee responsible for liaising with external audit, supervising internal audit, and reviewing the annual accounts and internal control of the company. So this committee is very much important for a company. So they are mainly liaised with the external audit of the company and the internal audit function of the company, and also they are reviewing the normally annual accounts and the company's internal controls. Okay, so this is the main areas in the audit committees are liable. And remuneration committee. So this committee is mainly responsible for, this is very much sensitive for the company's activities, the remuneration committee. So this is responsible for advising on executive director's remuneration policy. Okay, and the specific package for each director. So this is very sensitive duty. So done by the remuneration committee. So they are the persons who are advising on executive director remuneration policy. So how we are going to pay for the executive directors, and so if they are paying some specific package for the director, so how these decisions are taken. Okay, so this is very sensitive information handled by the remuneration committee, and also the confidential. Okay, so these people are doing very much important thing. So then the risk committee. So what is the meaning of risk? Okay, so we are planning something. So risk mean, so there is a uncertainty of thing happen. So whatever things we have plan. අද අපි මොකක් හරි plan කරලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒක නොවෙන්න තියෙන ඉඩකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ risk එකක් කියලා. Okay, so responsible for this risk committee is responsible for overseeing the organization risk response and management strategies. Okay, whatever the risk can be, uh, companies may have to face in future periods. So then, so this committee is um, responsible. So what are the risks can be happen, and what are the responses we need to address, and what are the management strategies, these type of things. So then they are looking for these type of thing. Okay, so that's the main thing we need to identify in the risk committee. So we have nomination committee, audit committee, and remuneration committee, and risk committee. Okay, so these are the main four committees we are going to discuss today. Okay, so we are firstly moving to the nomination committee. So please read this role and function of the nomination committee by taking 2 minutes. So role and function of nomination committee. I have just explained what is nomination committee. So by taking 1 minute, please read whatever the things available in this slide. And yeah, I need to miss to highlight in this point. So most report recommended committee should be started by non-executive directors and preferably independent non-executive directors. So what is the meaning of this one? So what is the meaning of this one? So this is a one important advice from the Higgs report and also the other reports as well. So in here, first thing, so they have mentioned no one person should serve all committees. එකම පුද්ගලයාට මේ හැම එකටම සර්ව් කරන්න බෑ. ඕකේ. ඒතකොට එක පුද්ගලයෙක් මේ නොමිනේෂන් කමිටු එකේ ඉන්නත් බෑ. ඒ වගේම රෙමුනරේෂන් කමිටු ඉන්නත් බෑ. ඔඩිට් කමිටු ඉන්නත් බෑ. ඒ වගේම රිස්ක් කමිටු. ඒතකොට එකම පුද්ගලයාට මේ කමිටීස් හතරම සර්ව් කරන්න බෑ. So why? So why? Because it is unhealthy for one person to have too much control. Okay, so as a result of this, one person have too much control on these all committees. Okay. Also, so it is recommended that the committee should be made up of non-executive directors. So they have mentioned, so it should include the non-executive directors. So these non-executive directors should be independent non-executive directors. So last week, so we have discussed, so who are the executive directors, who are the non-executive directors, who are the independent non-executive directors. So what are the differences? So what are the characteristics? So what are the roles of them? So in here, in this HIG reports and the other reports they have mentioned, it is recommended. So they have recommended. So these committees should be made up of non-executive directors. So it is preferred if we have independent non-executive director. So why we are saying like that? So what is the reason? So that's why decisions are fair and objective. So whatever decisions we are taking, so it is very fair and objective. So you know what are the main characteristic of non-executive directors. So then, so they are independent parties. So they are not a staff or permanent employee of the company. So then he is independent. Okay, so as a result of that, so whatever the decisions they are taking in the committee side, so this decision may be higher level of fairness and the objectives. Okay, so and also, so it is not influenced by the people working inside in the company. That's the meaning of the directors, executive directors. Okay. So as an example, think about if the audit committee, okay, if the audit committee had only executive directors, so that might cover up a problem. Why? If the audit committee, if we have a one executive director, so what is the issue? What is the problem? It will arise. If that committee, if they have independent directors, so they can speak up only and do what's the best for the company. Okay, so if the executive directors are there, so they are only think about the company side. Okay, so they are think about their whatever the benefit they are normally receive. Okay, so because they are only employees of the company. But if the independent directors are there, so they are open. They are only open. Okay, and also they are also independent. So it is a good thing if we have a independent non-executive directors in these type of committees. So that's the main thing, highlight of this Higgs report mentioned in this para. Okay. Okay, thanks. Then, so we'll move into this role and function of nomination committee. So please read that one. Okay, role and function of nomination committee. Okay, I think you have read the slide. So, nomination committee. So, why do companies need a nomination committee? What is the reason? Why do companies need a nomination committee? A company nomination committee එකක් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ. Okay, so if you have read this slide, so if you have an idea, please tell me. So why companies need this type of a nomination committee? Okay, so one of the key ideas in good corporate governance is having the right balance of people on the board. Okay, so at the beginning of this corporate governance lecture series, so we have discussed, so we need a good balance. That means the right balance of people in the board of directors. That means the board. Okay, so you can't have only board full of only executive directors. Okay, ඔයාලට මෙතන board එක decide කරන්න බෑ fully with the executive directors because so they might think alike or avoid questioning each other. Why? So because they are already employees of the company. Okay, so they think alike or avoid questioning each other. එකිනෙකාගෙන් ප්‍රශ්න කරගන්න යන්නේ නැහැ because they are the executive directors, so they are serve for the company. Okay, so they are not independent. Okay, so you also can't have board fully of outsiders. Okay, so you also can't have board of outsiders who don't understand the business. Okay, අපිට මේ එළිය කට්ටියම fully අපේ board එකට දාගන්න බෑ. Why? So they haven't the good idea regarding the company. So they haven't the proper idea what are the things companies are doing, what are the strategies they are taking. So they haven't the better idea. So because they are already outsiders. Okay, so they are sometimes they are serving for another company as an executive director. Okay, likewise. Okay, so to keep this balance, so what we need to do? So to keep this balance, so most of the corporate governance codes, so like the UK corporate governance codes, so they also recommended, so the companies need to set up a nomination committee. Okay, so that is the main reason. So why we need a nomination committee. So most of the corporate governance practices, so they have mentioned the company should have a nomination committee. Okay, and who should be in this committee? How the main committee again? Huh? So who are the persons are in the nomination committee? Huh? In here also slide mention. Huh?
Chairman and directors.
Okay. So you can see in the main paragraph. So it's made up fully or mainly of independent non-executive directors. So why? To oversee the process of board appointments and make recommendation to the board. Okay, so it should be made up mostly or even completely of that means the independent non-executive directors. So why? So why we need these type of people for the nomination committee? Because independent directors don't work for the company. Okay, so these independent directors, so they don't work for the company, so they can give and unbiased and fair opinion about who should be on the board. Okay, so who should be on the board? So in this nomination committee, Buddha, so most of the people are in the independent non-executive director, mostly or sometimes completely, even completely. Okay, so in here, so they are the persons who appointing the members for the not not appointees, so they are nominating. So these people should be in the board. So why we are saying the independent non-executive director should be there in this type of committee? So because they are unbiased. Okay, so they don't work for the company and they can give unbiased and fair opinion. Think about if we have an executive director, so he is biased for the people that work with him. Okay, so he is biased also the persons who are work with him. Okay, so then so they that means he cannot give a fair and also he cannot give an unbiased decision. Okay, so then so that's why we are saying so these type of nomination committee mostly or even completely we should have independent non-executive directors. Okay, so they can give unbiased and fair opinion who should be on the board. Okay, so that's the thing we need to know about here. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, the nomination committee needs to consider. Okay, so what's the meaning of this? So nomination committee, so what does the nomination committee actually do? මොනාද මේ nomination committee again actually කරගෙන යන්නේ. So let's break up these things in simply. So you can see the balance between executive and independent non-executives. Okay, so that's the thing. So check the balance between executive and non-executive. What is the meaning of this one? So the committee makes sure there's a good mix of executive directors. So who are the executive directors? Who run the business daily. Okay, so who run the business daily? So those are the people we are discuss on the executive directors and independent non-executive directors. So who are the independent non-executive directors? So if you are saying simply, so who provide independent advice and oversight to the company. Okay, so in here, first thing is check the balance between executive and non-executive. So the committee, so they need to make sure there's a good mix of executive directors and also the independent non-executives. Okay, so as an example, think about if a board has 6 members and 5 of them are executive, so there is a problem. No, think about in this type of nomination committee. Think about there is a 6 members from the executive and sorry, think about uh, the committee is consist with the 6 members. So think about 5 members of this committee are executive directors. So there is a problem. So they cannot give a unbiased decision. Okay, so the nomination committee would suggest appointing more independent directors to balance it out. Okay, so that's the thing. So think about if there is a 6 members, so like 4 members should be there as a independent non-executive directors. Okay, so that's a good thing. Okay, the when it's more in the second thing, the skill, knowledge, and experience possessed by the current board. So what's the meaning of this one? Look at the skill, knowledge, and experience on the board. So as the nomination committee, so they need to check whether the current board members have necessary skill and experience. Okay, they need to check. So these people, so in these people in the board should have proper skill and experience. අර දෙයාලා එතන වැඩ කරගෙන ගියත් එහෙම නැත්නම් අපොයින්ට් වෙන්න කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් so these people should have proper experience and skill to serve as a board member. Okay, so think about as an example. So if a company is moving to into digital business, so but nobody on the board understand the technology. Okay, okay, think about normally nowadays, though most companies are moving to the digital platforms. Okay, so but nomination committees, they have understand. So there is a no person have the idea regarding these things. Okay, so what is the nomination committee now need to do? So the nomination committee would suggest appointing a new director with IT expertise. Okay, so they have to appoint a new director with IT, that means information technology expertise. Okay. Okay, so that's the meaning of the look at the skill, knowledge, and experience on the board. So nomination committee, they need to carefully check about the people who are working in the board. So they should have proper skill, knowledge, and experience. So whatever decisions they are taking in the company's perspective. Okay. And the next thing is the need for continuity and succession planning. Okay, so that means the plan for continuity and succession. So this means making sure there is a proper plan when board members retire, resign, or can't continue. Okay. So what is the meaning of this one? So I think we have discussed one case study in the 2, 3 weeks ago regarding this succession planning. Okay, think about normally the board members or any people in working in an organization, they may be retired. Okay, they may be resign. Okay, sometimes they may be, sometimes there is a sudden reasons no, so මොනා හරි වෙලා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ඇක්සිඩන්ට් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, මේ වගේ situations වෙන්න පුළුවන් in organization. So this mean making sure there's a proper plan when board members retire, resign, or any unavoidable situation happen in the for these people. Okay, so as a nomination committee, so they should have a proper plan regarding this type of thing. Think about as an example, if the chairman is planning to retire in next year, so the committee should start finding a suitable person to replacement. So these things. Okay. chairman ළමයි තව අවුරුද්දකින් විතර retire වෙනවා නම් so then අපි plan කරන්න ඕන nomination committee එකට plan කරන්න ඕනේ මොකද්ද ඊළඟට කවුද අපි ඊළඟට එන්න ඉන්නේ. Okay, එයාව කවුද? එයා අපිව කලින්ම identify කරගන්න ඕනේ. Okay. So this is not only applicable for in the company side. So think about and your organization, whatever the organization now we are in the working. So think about as an audit trainee. So think that audit trainees la then company අයින් වෙන්න සහ හිතන්න ඔයාලගේ manager supervisor සමහරට මොන හරි placement එකක් ඇවිල්ලා යාලා රට යන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, එතකොට as a firm, so they need to think about so what our HR plan. What is our HR plan? හරිද? දැන් මෙහෙම කට්ටිය අයින් වෙලා යනකොට අපි මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? Okay, තව අපි කට්ටිය අලුතෙන් කට්ටිය ගන්නවද? එහෙම නැත්නම් experience තියෙන කට්ටිය ගන්නවද? නැත්නම් ඉන්නහට training එකක් දෙනවද? So likewise they need to think about these things. Okay, so these things are normally practically happening in the company's side. Okay, I think you can clear regarding this plan for continuity and succession. Okay. And the desirable size of the board. So they need to decide the desirable size of the board. So they will recommend how big the board should be for effective decision making. Okay, board එක කොච්චර ප්‍රමාණයකට expand වෙන්න ඕනේද? So that means the people. Okay, how many people should be in the board? Okay, I think these things we have discussed in the last week also. So not too big. because it causes delays and also not too small. So as a result of this type of small scenario, sometimes miss out and different opinions. Okay. ඒක ගොඩාක් ලොකු වෙන්නත් බෑ. එහෙම ලොකු වුණොත් බෝඩ් එක අපිට decisions හරි time එකකට ගන්න බෑ. ඒ වගේම බෝඩ් එක ගොඩාක් කුඩා වෙන්නත් බෑ. එහෙම වුණොත් අපිට අර different opinions හරිද වෙන කට්ටියක තියෙන expertise knowledge expertise opinions අපිට අපේ බෝඩ් එකට ගන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා so should have a proper balance of the proper count of the board of directors of a company. Okay. Then final one is the need to attract board members from diversity of background. So this word is very much important. So we have discussed these things in uh, last 2 weeks also. So diversity is very much important keyword. So we have to promote diversity as a nomination committee. So they have to promote diversity. So they should encourage to appoint people from different backgrounds. Okay, so they should have to they should have to nominate the people from different backgrounds. So what is the meaning of this different background? මොකද්ද මම මේ කියන්නේ different backgrounds කියලා. So different industries. Okay. So like law side, sometimes banking side, some people are from the technology side. So from the different industries. And also the different genders. Okay, it may be female, it may be a male, likewise. So based on gender wise and also the cultural wise. Okay, some people from the Tamil, that means the Tamil side, the Muslims, Sinhalese, like so likewise. So in the different cultures and also different experiences. Okay, so some people should have a proper experience on the finance side. Some people should have proper experience on the administrative side and HR side. Likewise, so the diversity is very much important if we are nominating people for the board of directors. Okay, so like different industry side, the gender wise, cultural wise, experience wise, so it is important. Think about as an example, if this type of scenario, if a company's board has 8 male members from same business background, there are 8 male members from same business background. What is the issue here? The nomination committee should try to bring in female directors or people from other industries like technology, banking, law, HR, likewise, anything. Okay. So if already we have 8 male members in the company's the same business background. Okay, so they haven't any different business experience. So we have same business experience. Think about the finance side, finance පැත්ත විතරයි දන්නේ. Okay, so and also these people are in the male. පිරිමි 8 දෙනෙක් තමයි ඉන්නේ. So they only have the experience on the finance. Okay, the nomination committee. So what they need to do in these type of scenarios? So they need to bring so like female directors. Okay, so they can identify female directors who should be in the board and also the people from the other industries. Okay, so they can identify or who are the people so we need to hire for the board. So like the different experiences like technology side and also the banking side, the law side, HR side and administrative side. So likewise. Okay, so then we have to properly identify the diversity in the board. Okay, so as a nomination committee, so they need to consider these things as well. Okay, so the nomination committee should ensure that appointments to the board are made using objective criteria. However, the criteria should not be so restrictive that it limits too greatly the number of candidates. Okay, so what is the meaning of this one? So this is main related to how should board appointments be made. කොහොමද බෝඩ් එකට මේ appointments අපි හදන්නේ as a nomination committee. The nomination committee must use fair, clear and objective criteria when recommending a new board members. So that is the thing, no? So if we are suggesting a person, so they should have fair and clear and objective criteria why we are appointing, we are recommending this member, this person. Okay. So they should have fair, clear, and objective criteria. That means the rationale normally. Rationale why we are recommending this member. Okay. So think about as an example. So if they say candidate must have what we say in the 30 years experience in the experience, and also he has a finance degree. Yeah. He has finance degree and also he have 30 years experience and be under 40 years old. 40ට වඩා අඩුයි. Okay. Obviously, so very few people would match. Okay, so while the process should be fair, it must be also be practical. Okay, so we should have 30 years experience and also the finance degree and also he should be under 30 years old. හරිද? එහෙනම් වෙන සාමාන්‍ය කලාතුරකින් ළමයි. හරිද? දැන් අවුරුදු 30ට වඩා experience එකක් තියෙන අඩුම තියෙනවනේ අවුරුදු 30ක්. ඒ වගේම finance degree එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ and also he should be under 40 years old. It cannot be happen. උතර අවුරුදු 10ම එයා job එකට යන්න ඕනේ. So these things are not practical. Okay. So while the process should be fair, it must also be practical. Okay. So these things should be considered when we are appointing a new board members as from the nomination committee. Okay. So any doubt or any things regarding this one under the nomination committee? Are you clear or any doubt regarding this one? So if it is okay, so we are moving to the next committee. Are you okay? Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well. So then we are moving to the most important committee in a company's perspective. So the audit committee. Okay, so I'll give you 3 minutes to read this one first. So take an idea and then we will discuss. Role and function of audit committee. Okay. The role and function of audit committee. Okay. So what are the roles and what are the main function of audit committee? Hmm? So what is the audit committee? So most important committee, as I told you, in the company's board, audit committee. So what is the audit committee? So that's the first thing we need to know. So what is the audit committee? So is it is consist with, so what type of people?
Independent non-executive director.
Good. In here it is also mentioned. So it's a group of independent non-executive directors. Huh? So audit committee is a group of independent non-executive directors. So whose job is to help the board in areas related to the auditing and financial reporting. Okay, so these committees mainly consist with independent non-executive directors, and their main duty is to help to the board the areas like auditing and financial reporting. Okay, so why this type of committee is important for a company? Why this type of committee is important for a company? Uh, so this committee actually we are saying normally, so they are the company's financial watchdog. අර කියනවා මුර බල්ලෙක් කියලා කියන්නේ සිංහලේ. So this committee acts like the company's financial watchdog. Okay, so they are making sure the financial information are reliable and also risk and under control, and audits are properly handled. Okay, so both internal and also the external also. Okay, so this committee is very much important. This audit committee is very much important. So they are acts like a financial watchdog in a company, and making sure the financial information are also reliable and risk and under control, and the audits. So normally companies are doing external and also some companies have internal audits now. So they are think about, so these audits are properly handle. හරියට මේ දේවල් වෙනවාද කියන එක තමයි so මේකේ main duty එක. Okay. Okay. Okay, so in here you can see the audit committees are now compulsory. Okay, so you can see here very much important concept. The audit committees are now compulsory for the companies trading on many stock exchanges. What is the meaning of this? So many companies listed on exchange, that means stock exchange, Colombo Stock Exchange as an example. So, and also the London Stock Exchange in that country. So this having an audit committee in that company is compulsory. Okay. Colombo Colombo Stock Exchange listed in a company so then in the Sri Lankan context, so they should have a audit committee, so it is compulsory. Okay, so that's the thing. So who should be in the audit committee? Who should be in the audit committee? So that's the next thing we have discussed. So in order to effective, the audit committee has to be well staffed. Okay, the UK Smith report recommended that the audit committee should consist entirely of independent non-executive directors. Okay, so you can highlight this one also. So it should be entirely of independent non-executive director, excluding here the chairman. The chairman should be there. So entirely independent non-executive directors, and should include at least one member with significant and recent financial experience. Okay, so what is the UK Smith report? So they have recommended it should be made up with entirely of independent non-executive directors, excluding the chairman. Okay, entirely audit committee consists when on a independent non-executive directors again, excluding our chairman of the company. Also, it should include at least one person with strong recent financial experience. Okay, so why it is very much important? So this audit committee mainly focus on the areas related to the auditing and financial reporting. Okay, so then one person should have the proper, that mean expertise knowledge regarding the recent financial experiences. Okay, so as an example, think about it like having a qualified chartered accountant. Okay, qualified chartered accountant or auditor in the team. Okay, so like that way. Okay. And also the Singapore code suggests that at least two members should have accounting and related financial management expertise. So in here, the Smith report and also the Singapore code they have mentioned in their report. So that should have at least two members should have accounting or financial management expertise. Okay. So likewise, also that's the other thing. Okay, so now we are moving to one by one. So the main duties of audit committee. Okay, so the main duties of audit committee. Okay, so there are two, three, four, and five. So there are main five duties of the audit committee. So I will give you the time to read these five duties. I think I have already uploaded this slide in LMS. So first we will read. So first we will read and then we will discuss. And the same time, I will make available your QR code for the market attenders. And please read. I will give you 5 to 10 minutes to read these main duties and then we will discuss. Otherwise, I am reading and you are just asking. And then the good thing is you have to read this thing first and we will discuss. And also, the same time, sometimes you can identify whatever the wordings available here. සමහරට මේ වචන හරි පොඩි idea එකක් කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා මුලින්ම මේක කියවලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි කතා කරමු. Okay. I think you can see the QR code now. So if it is a issue with, if there is an issue with the QR code, please let me know. So in the last week, so we have this lot of issues now. So then if there is an issue, please let me know. And I will give you 5 to 10 minutes to read the main duty of the audit committee. And after that, we will discuss. So still 16 members are already recorded their attendance, huh? Okay, I hope time is enough. Okay, actually we have 17 members. Okay. Okay, anyway, okay, I hope you have read this, at least read this main duties of the audit committee. So we'll start from the first one, the review of financial statement and control systems. So what is the meaning of this one? Okay. Hmm? Review of financial statements and control systems. So in here, the committee check, so both quarterly and also interim and also finally the annual accounts to make sure they are fair and accurate. Okay, so these audit committees, they are checking both quarterly and also the interim and also finally the annual accounts to make sure their financial statements are fair and accurate. Okay, so these are things they are doing now. And also they assess their key accounting policies. Okay, so there are key accounting policies and where management made major estimate or judgments. Okay, so in here mainly they have to they assess. So what are their key accounting policies and areas where management made major estimate or judgments. Okay, management මොනවාද major estimates කරලා තියෙනවා and also මොනවාද main judgments they have done and also what are the main key accounting policies in our company side. Okay, so these things they have to assess. Okay, and also they review the management control system. So what we mean by this control system? Huh? What are the control system? You can see in here. What are the control system? So they have to review the accounts. The committee's review should cover management control system, which includes budgetary system and the performance measurement system. So this involves considering the performance indicators and information systems that allow monitoring the most significant business and financial risks. Okay, the system should also highlight the development that may require action. As an example, large variances if we have, and communicate these to the right people. Okay, in regarding this control system, so they have to, that means the audit committee, so they have to review the management control system like budget process and sometimes performance measurement. Okay. So in here, as an example, if we take about if a company reports a sudden big profit increase, if there is a huge profit increase, the audit committee what they need to do, so they need to check if this genuine or due to overly optimistic accounting assumption. Okay, if there's a huge profit increase in their financial statements, so as audit committee, they have to check whether so this increase is genuine. May increase එක genuine ද. Okay, එහෙම නැත්නම්, so if this increase is main result of the management estimation, management no, what is the thing we heard? Management judgment. So likewise, as a result of these things are uh, happening. Okay. Okay. So then as audit committee, so they have checked whether so these things. Okay. The next duty is review of internal control. So what is the internal control? Okay, most of you have, I think, have the idea what is an internal control. So can someone tell me what is an internal control system in a company?
Reduce risk.
Okay, reduce risk. So I am asking what is the internal control? So you have said, okay, good, very good. So what happened by implementing internal control? So that is reduce risk. Okay. So what is the internal control? So the internal control system is a controlling mechanism. So if the company systems are properly done, okay, properly doing. Okay, so as an example, think about the revenue process and also the payment process. So these things are happening in accurate manner. And as an example, think about to pay over the 500,000. So they need two signatures regarding the persons of the finance manager and also the accountant. Then ලක්ෂ 5කට payment එකක් කරන්න නම් payment process එකේදී so they should have two signatures. Okay, so this is a one internal control mechanism. Okay, if these two signatures are not there, so then it should not have a proper internal control. එතකොට ඒ sign දෙකම නැත්නම් එතන control mechanism එකක් නැහැ. So as a company, so they can decide whatever the uh, internal controls they have established. Okay. So then in here, when it's come to the audit committee, so they have to check whether these type of internal control systems are properly handled, properly uh, established. Okay, so think about as an example, I told you in the last previous weeks. So this internal control system, so they are managing. So what could go wrong? මොනවාද වෙන්න පුළුවන් වැරදි. Okay, so in these processes, so as a audit committee, so they have to check whether so what could go wrong. මොනවාද වෙන්න පුළුවන් වැරදි. So in this type of internal processes. Okay, so then they check whether the company has proper systems to control risk and prevent mistake or fraud. මොකක් හරි වංචාවක් වෙන්න තියෙනවා නම් ඒ වංචාවක් වෙන්න වළක්ව ගන්න අදාළ proper systems තියනවාද? රිස්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා නම් so ඒ රිස්ක් එක control කරන්න prevent කරගන්න අපිට proper system එකක් තියෙනවාද? So as audit committee, so they have to check. So these type of internal control systems are in their processes, in their systems. Okay. So and also they also review the company's compliance with laws, ethics code, and also the environmental rules and listing rules. Okay, so in here when it's come to internal control, so they are normally also checking the companies are compliance with the laws, relevant laws වලට comply වෙලාද මේ කට්ටිය මේ වැඩ ටික කරගෙන යන්නේ, and also some ethical backgrounds are there. So these things also we have to check. Okay, so we'll take an example regarding this review of internal control. Think about if a company has code of conduct about fair dealing. Okay, so give me 1 minute. Okay, think about when it's come to the companies complies with laws and ethics code. So as an example, think about if a company has code of conduct about fair dealing, think about that scenario. Fairly they have to deal. Okay, so as audit committee, so they need to review the reports on whether it is being followed by investigate any violations. Okay, so as audit committee, they need to review so whether it is being followed, and also if it is not there, so they have to check whether they are investigate any violations. Okay, so they also make sure employees are aware of fraud risk. Okay, so they have to check whether they have to review as audit committee. So they have to check whether these employees of the company, so they are aware of the fraud risk. වංචාවක් වෙන්න තියෙන risk එක එයාලා ගැන aware. And also they know the channels to report. එහෙම වංචාවක් වෙනවා නම් ඒක කාටද report කරන්න ඕනේ. So like a whistle blowing hotline. Okay, මෙහෙම මොකක් හරි වෙනවා නම් මේ කාටද report කරන්න ඕනේ. හරිම person report කරන්න. So as employees they are already aware these things. Okay. Okay, so those are the things when it's come to the internal review of internal controls done by the audit committee. Okay, so these are the things actually available in here. So you can see the legal and ethics, and also monitor the effectiveness of controls over the financial reporting, and needs to demonstrate the professional skepticism. So අපි වෘත්තීය විනිශ්චයභාවයකින් ඉන්න ඕනේ skepticism කියලා කියන්නේ. As auditor, I think this word is very much famous. So you should have a proper question in mind. So what are the things happening in the organization? So if there is there, so as auditor, as audit committee member, so you can ask question. Okay, so what is happening here? Okay, so as a result of that, so as auditor or audit committee member, so they can identify in this process. So there is a issue with the controls, is internal controls. Okay, so committee should have also they address the risk of fraud. Okay, වංචාවක් වෙන්න තියෙනවා නේ වංචාවක් වෙලා වෙන්න තියෙන ඉඩකඩ තියෙනවා, so they have to aware, so whatever the persons they need to report. Okay, and also the staff side also. Okay, and also each year committee should be responsive for reviewing the company's statement of internal controls prior it is approved by the board. Okay, in the every year audit committee they need to review the company's statement of internal controls. So what are these internal controls we have already established in our systems? So these systems are already applicable, and also these things are enough for our current situation likewise. Okay, and also the committee should consider recommendation of the auditors in the management letter and management response. Okay, think about after a external audit, so they are providing the management letter and also the management responses. Okay, so as a audit committee, so they have to address these things. Okay, as audit committee, so they are directly deal with the external auditors. So then, so what are the auditors are recommended for the company? So then, so they have to take the decision with the board of directors. Okay, so the committee's role is ongoing, so it can also ensure that recommendations are publicized and see that actions are taken as appropriate. Okay, and also finally the committee may play a more active supervisory role, for an example reviewing major transaction and transactions for reasonableness. Okay, so these are the actually main duties coming under the review of internal control in a company's system. Okay. Okay, then we are moving to the third duty of the audit committee, the review of risk management. So this risk management is separate module for our course module. So So what is the meaning of the risk management? Risk management. So you can take the idea from the wordings as well. Risk management. This include confirming that there is a formal policy in place for risk management and that the policy is backed and regularly monitored by the board. Okay, so in here, when it's come to review of risk management, so as a audit committee, so they have to confirm there is a formal risk assessment policy in the company side, and they have to check whether these formal risk management policy is regularly reviewed by the board. Okay, so the committee should have also review and the arrangements including training for ensuring that managers and staff are aware of their responsibilities. Okay, so when it's come to review and risk management, first thing they have to do as audit committee, so they have to confirm a company should have formal risk management policy. Okay, so we are discussing the risk management committee at the later part of this lecture. So as audit committee, so what are their duty is they have to check whether so the companies have formal risk management policy and also that formal risk management policy is regularly reviewed by the board of directors. Okay, and also they need to check whether managers and also the staffs are properly trained about the risk management. Okay, otherwise they don't know what is our risk as. මොකක්ද අපිට තියෙන risk එක කියලාවත් දන්නේ නැහැ. So then as a audit committee, so they have to check with the managers and also the staff members, that means the employees of the company, so they are properly trained about the risk management. Okay. Think about as an example. So we will take one example regarding the risk management. So think about, we'll take this type of example. Think about one company. So we have a company. So they are going to expand it to a new country, the Lanka company. So they are plan to start a new premise in the Malaysia. Malaysia වල තව company එකක් පටන් ගන්න යන. Okay, so as a audit committee, so they have to confirm, they should confirm whether the risk management system covers foreign exchange risk and also the legal risk. So likewise, as audit committee, so they have to check whether so risk management system, okay, it covers the, as an example, in we are if we are moving to the foreign country, so we'll have a risk, that means the foreign exchange risk. Okay, and also it is okay to establish this type of company in their country, that means the legal risk. Likewise, so these things should be reviewed as a audit committee. So I told you, so if a company already have separate risk management committee, so audit committee job here may be lighter. Okay, තර මෙතන ළමයි company එකට වෙනම risk management committee risk committee එකක් ඉන්නවා නම් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් audit committee එකට තියෙන වැඩ ටික easy වෙනවා. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, the next thing is oversight of internal audit. Oversight of internal audit. The audit committee needs to oversee the work of internal audit and ensure its work supports the company's strategic objectives and the needs of the company. So what is the meaning of this oversight of internal audit? What is the meaning of this oversight of internal audit? And here main thing is the audit committee supervise the internal audit department. Okay, so this audit committee, so they are supervise the internal audit function in a company. And the company ke තියෙන internal audit function එක monitor වෙන්නේ supervise වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ internal audit audit committee එකෙන්. Okay, So the team that regularly check whether company's operations and finance are running properly. Okay. So in here there are some main areas we need to highlight. Reporting relationship. In internal audit normally reports to the audit committee for the following reason. Okay, so internal audit division, they have report for the audit committee. Okay, so main areas, so like reporting relationship. So what is the meaning of the reporting relationship? So as you all know, the internal audit reports directly to the audit committee. So why? So they can stay independent from the company's management. Okay, so the audit committee also independent, and also the internal audit department, so they can report for the audit committee because they are an independent party. Okay, and then when it's come to the provide the strategic oversight of a internal audit function, provide the strategic oversight of internal audit. The committee has the responsibility for determining the strategy adopted by the internal audit. What is the meaning of that one? So in here, the audit committee decide the overall plan and strategy for internal audit work. එතකොට මෙතන audit committee එකෙන් තමයි decide කරන්නේ. So the what is our overall plan and the strategy of the internal audit. හරිද? මොකක්ද අපි කරන්නේ? මොකක්ද අපේ plan එක? මොකක්ද අපේ strategy? So the audit committee deciding these things. Okay? And provide the authority needed. So what is the authority needed? The need for internal audit to have whatever the access is necessary to people and documents, and that there should be no-go areas. No-go areas. Likewise. So the backing of the audit committee should reinforce the authority that internal audit has to enforce its demand. හරිද? Internal audit division එකට මොනවා හරි details වලට පුද්ගලයන්ට සහ documents වලට access වෙන්න ඉඩ කඩක් නැත්නම් as a audit committee, so they are liable. So their main duty is to provide the authority. Okay, so the committee, so they need to ensure internal auditors have access to the all documents, systems, and stuff they needed. Okay, so like no go areas. Okay. And then එතකොට අපේ external audit එකකින් වෙන්නේ sample basis. So that's why we are providing a reasonable assurance, and we are ensuring as audit committee, so they need to ensure. So internal auditors are doing great job because they are already working in for the company, so they have to check whether uh, whatever the or in that whatever the risk documents available, whatever the systems they are performing, whatever the staff they are working, staffs are working. So likewise, so as audit committee, so they should have to provide proper authority for the internal auditors to do their audits. Okay. Then when it's come to the next thing, ensuring actions taken from the audit opinion. Ensuring actions taken for the audit opinion. Okay, the audit committee should provide a forum for internal audit conclusions to be considered fairly. It can also follow up the reports of internal audit by obtaining evidence of whether its recommendations have been implemented. So it has the authority to hold managers accountable if they have failed to take action. Okay. So what is the simple meaning of this one? Ensuring action taken for the audit opinion. So in here as a audit committee, so they have to check whether management follow up on internal audit recommendation. So that's the simple thing here. So as audit committee, so they have to ensure, so whatever the decisions, whatever the recommendations given by the internal audit department, so these things are followed by the management. Okay, management එක මේ දීලා තියෙන recommendations implement කරනවාද? So that's the thing they have to check as audit committee. Okay, so those are coming under the reporting relationship. Now when it's come to the annual review of internal audit, annual review of internal audit, the review should cover the formal terms of references and assess whether they are adequate. Okay, so as audit committee, so they have to annually review the internal audit works. So every year, so the committee reviews whether the internal audit work is up to standard. Okay, so they have to check whether so this internal audit work is in the superb level. Okay, in up to standard. Okay, and also whether they have enough staff and also enough resources, and whether their work plan covers the high risk areas. Okay, so these things as a audit committee they have to check. Okay, so they have to annually review the internal audit. So they have to check whether internal audit works are in the superb level, that means in the standard level, and also they have to check whether internal audit division have enough staff, and also they have to check whether internal audit division have sufficient resources, and also their work plan, their strategic plan covers the high risk areas of the company. So that is the main thing audit committee doing under the annual review of the internal audit function of a company. Okay, so as an example, think about um, in the when you are moving to the online payments, so there is a high fraud risk. Okay, so if fraud risk are rising on these type of online payments, in a company's perspective, so the audit committee, so what their job role is, they should ensure the internal audit team focus on that area. Okay, අපි දන්නවා online payments කරනකොට සාමාන්‍ය in a company's perspective, it is a high risk area. There may be a fraud risk. Okay, if there is a rising fraud risk on this type of online payments, as a audit committee, they have to ensure, they should ensure the internal audit team focus on these type of area. Okay, so that's a one example to annual review of the internal audit. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is you can read these things. Eh? I have discussed whatever the things available here in a summary. Summary mail. Okay, liaison with external auditors. So this is very much important for you, and also this sometimes you may have experience with the internal audit. If you are working as an external auditor in a company, in a firm, so sometimes you have deal with the internal auditors of whatever the whatever the audit clients you are doing. Okay, so liaison with the external auditors means so the audit committee works closely with the external auditors. Like we have the audit firms like EY, KPMG, PwC, BDO, we are Zillow, likewise. So we have a lot of audit firms as external auditors or as audit committee of the company. So they have normally closely work with the external auditors. Okay. So in here, their key tasks are what? So they have key tasks, they have key duties. What are their key tasks? Okay, you can see as first, the being responsible for appointment or removal of external auditors as well as fixing their remuneration. Okay, So appointing or removing external auditors are mainly main task of the audit committee in a company. And also they have deciding what is the amount we are paying for them. Okay, so appointing and also removing and also what is the amount we have to pay likewise. Okay, so it is a one main task on the audit committee with when we are coming to the relationship with the audit committee and the external auditors. The next thing is considering whether there are any other threats to external auditors' independence. So in particular, the committee should consider non-audit services provided by external auditors, paying particular attention to whether there may be a conflict of interest. Sometimes, so external auditors rather than the main external audit of the company, so they are doing some non-audit services like consultancy services. Okay, so then as the audit committee, so they have to check whether by providing these type of non-audit services, so there may be a conflict of interest. Okay, there may be a conflict of interest. So then, as audit committee, so they have to check whether so if there is a threat to external auditor as independence regarding to our company. Clear? The next thing is discussing the scope of external audit prior to the start date of the audit. Okay, so this is another duty of the audit committee. So they have to discuss the scope of the external audit. So they have discussed the scope of the external audits prior to the start of the audit. අපි audit එක පටන් ගන්න කලින් අපි external auditorsලාත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න ඕනේ අපේ scope එක මොකක්ද? අපි මොනවද කරන්න යන්නේ? Okay, so likewise, so they have to discuss the scope of the external audit with the audit team, external audit team. So this should include the consideration of whether external audits coverage of all areas and location of the business in fair and how much external audit will rely on the work of internal audit. Okay, so in here simply say, so as a audit committee, so they have to discuss with the external auditors, what is the audit plan? What is the audit plan? So including which areas they will focus on. මොන වගේ areas they යාලා focus කරන්න කියලා අපි auditors ලත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. Okay. So in here, when it's come to D, acting as a forum or liaison between the external auditors and the internal auditors and the finance director. What is the meaning of this one? So in here, they are, that mean that they are, that mean that what we have mentioned as they, that mean the audit committee. So they are acting as a bridge between external auditors, internal auditors, and the finance director. Okay. එතකොට මේ audit committee කියනවා පාලමක් කියලා bridge එකක් so between the external auditors and also the internal auditors of the company and also the finance director මේ කට්ටිය manage කරන මේ කට්ටිය අතර connection එක හදන party එක තමයි මේ අපේ company ඉන්න audit committee එක so they will acting as a bridge between external auditors of the company, internal auditors of the company and also the finance director. Okay. That's why we are saying forum of liaison. Okay. Then part E, helping the external auditors to obtain the information. So you know, as audit trainee in our audit firms, so you need a supporting document. How many times you are requesting from the client? Key පාරක් දවසට ඉල්ලනවාද ඔයාලා audit working එක කරගෙන යනකොට. Okay. So you are providing a huge document for the client at the beginning of the audit. Okay. කොච්චර වෙලා මේක හදන්න ඕනේ. sorry කොච්චර කාලයක් ඔයාලා මේක request කරන්න ඕනේ. දවස් ගානේ mail දානවානේ. Okay. That's the normally thing happen in there practically. So in here, so as audit committee, what they need to do, so they have to help for the external auditor to obtain the information they require and in resolving any problems they may encounter. Okay, so එතකොට මොකද්ද මෙතනදී audit committee එකේ duty එක simply they have to help for the external auditors. So if they have any issue, if they are facing any issue or need information, okay, so they have to help. එද මොනවා හරි ඩීටේල්ස් ඉල්ලන ඒ අදාළ දේව ෆලෝ අප් කරන්න ඔඩිට් කමිටි එක රෙස්පොන්සිබල්. හරි යාලා මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවනේ ඒ ප්‍රශ්නයට රෙස්පොන්ස් කරන එක ඔඩිට් කමිටි එකේ responsibility එකක්. Okay, likewise. The next thing is making themselves available to external auditors for consultation with or without the presence of company's management. Okay, so in here simply what it has mentioned, so meeting with auditors without management present if needed. Okay, මොනවා හරි අපිට ඔඩිටර්ස්ලත් එක්ක මීටින් එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ නම් අපිට කම්පැනිස් එකේ මැනේජ්මන්ට් එක නැති වුණත් with or without, so we need to meet the auditors. Okay, meeting with the auditors without management present if need. Then the final thing is dealing with any serious reservations which is external auditors may express either about their accounts, the records, or the quality of the company's management. But it has mentioned the dealing with any serious reservations. So in here, what it is mentioned clearly, so as audit committee, so they have to handling any serious concerns the auditors raise. Okay, so that's the thing mainly highlight here. So they have to handle any serious concerns raised by the auditors. Okay, and also sometimes it may be about the accounts. It may be sometimes the about all the accounts, sometimes the records, sometimes the management quality. So likewise, there may be a serious concerns. Okay, so then as audit committee, so they have to handle so these type of serious concerns, serious issues, sensitive issues highlighted by the auditors. Okay, so these are the actually key tasks by the uh, uh, audit committee. So we have divided these into separate parts, and so these are the main key focus areas from the audit committee. Okay, so if you are clear or any doubt regarding the audit committee and audit committee's duties and responsibilities, any doubt or any clarifications needed? That mean, are you okay? Okay, seems like no responses from you. So we'll move into the remuneration committee. So I will give you 5 to 10 minutes to discuss. That means read about the what are the main things highlighted in the remuneration committee. Okay, so this is very much sensitive areas in the company, remuneration workings in the company. So then I will give you time to read these slides like first. Okay, then we will discuss. Okay, I will give you time up to 10:30. So then after that we will discuss. Okay, remuneration committee. What is their main role? Remuneration committee. As I told you, so the directors, so the company's directors, so the what is the remuneration package? So we are offering as a company side, and also if there is any bonuses or any other packages, so therefore for the individual director, so these things are monitored by the remuneration committee. Okay. So why do we need this type of committee for a company? Why do we need this type of remuneration committee for a company? Hmm?
To give the benefit equal to every employees.
Okay, so in a good. So here, just like any other job, so directors need to be paid properly. Okay, so මෙතන directors ලා ළමයි අපේ company එකේ main body එක, board of directors. So then we have to pay properly for them. Why? They are doing a great job for a company. Okay, so if you want to attract and keep talented people on the board, so you must offer a good salary and benefits. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ කට්ටිය අයින් වෙලා යනවා. So then if you need to keep and if you need to want, attract and keep, that means the talented people, talented, expertise and skillful people in your board, so you have to offer, you have to definitely offer good salary and benefits. Okay, so when it's come to these type of scenario, there is a problem occur. Okay, but here is the problem. What is the problem? For years, one of the big corporate abuse has been directors paying themselves excessively salaries, bonuses, and benefits, sometimes much higher than what's fair. Okay, මේ වගේ සිනාරියෝ වෙනකොට මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් කම්පැනිස් වල. මොකක්ද? Okay, එතකොට මේ ඇත්තටම ළමයි දැන් එක එක්සිකියුටිව් කෙනෙක්ට ගෙවන සැලරි එක අනිත් එක්සිකියුටිව් කෙනා දන්නේ නැහැ. Okay, එක ඩිරෙක්ටර් කෙනෙක්ට ගෙවන ගන්න තව ඩිරෙක්ටර් කෙනෙක් දන්නේ නැහැ. So these things are handled by the remuneration committee. So then as an example, think about මේ වගේ නිවුස් සමහරට ඔයාලා අහලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Like CEO of the company, so is paid a huge bonuses while the company is making losses. Okay, සමහරට bonuses ගෙවලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන් directors ලාට. So then after company, that means the after some time period, so the company make losses. හරිද? loss එකක් එන තත්ත්වයට එනකන් company යෙන් ඒ අදාළ කට්ටියට bonuses ගෙවලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so there's a problem here. Okay, so what is the solution? So this type of scenario is the remuneration committee. Okay, so their job is to ensure that the directors are paid fairly, not lower, not higher. That salary should be, that payment should be fair. That fair mean what? Because මොකක්ද මෙතන fair කියලා කියන්නේ. So that fair payment should be enough to attract good people, but not so much. Okay, so that fair payment should be attract to good people. හරිද? ඒ ගෙවන ගාන ළමයි ඒ පුද්ගලයාව මේ කම්පැනි තියාගන්න සහ අලුත් කෙනෙක් එකට attract කරගන්න පුළුවන් තරමේ salary එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Okay, ඒක එහෙමකට වඩා වැඩි වුණොත් එහෙම මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ? කම්පැනි එකේ funds abuse වෙන එක තමයි වෙන්නේ. Okay. Okay, so that's the main thing regarding the remuneration committee. Okay, so what remuneration committee is doing? So what are the main duties? So they decide companies overall policy for executives, directors pay. Okay, මොකක්ද අපි executive directors ලට given a payment එක. So they should have proper policy. Okay, they should have proper policy. And also they set the individual salary packages for each director. එක director අදාළ salary packages එයාලා decide කරනවා. Okay. So then, and also they also ensure that directors pay linked to the company's performance. ඒ performance එක directors ලට ගෙවන්නේ ළමයි ඒ company කරන performance එකට. So directors are motivated to improve the company's value for shareholders. Performance basis තමයි අදාළ directors ලට bonuses සහ ඒ අදාළ salary increment දෙන්නේ. So as an example, think about if the company's profit increases, or sometimes that can be happen in the share price goes up. So directors normally may get a bonus. Okay, but these bonuses, if the company performs poorly, they shouldn't be rewarded unfairly. හරිද? හිතන්න company එකේ perform එක අඩු වුණා කියලා, share price එක අඩු වෙලා, profit එක අඩු වෙලා, loss එකක් තියෙන තත්යකට වගේ ආවොත් එයාලා expect කරන්න බෑ අර කලින් දුන්න bonus එකම මේ අවුරුද්දෙත් හම්බ වෙයි කියලා. Okay, so these things should be there. Okay. Okay, so in the you can see in the UK corporate governance code, so they have mentioned the committee should be made up of independent non-executive directors. Okay, so UK corporate governance code suggests measures to ensure that the committee is independent, including request the committee to be staffed by independent non-executive directors, ensuring that executive directors do not set their own remuneration level. The executive directors like salary මෙයාලා හදාගන්න එකේ එතකොට rational එකක් නැහැ ළමයි. So then as a that mean the remuneration committee, so they should have independent non-executive directors. And also the guidance from Association of British Insurance stress the importance of remuneration committee bringing independent through the scrutiny to the development and review process together with understanding the drivers of the business that contribute to shareholder value. So in here, the guidance from the Association of British Insurance, so they have also says the same that means the remuneration committee should bring in the independent thinking. So that's the main word they have highlight. Independent thinking means so they should have independent non-executive directors. Okay, and also carefully check whether the pay levels are really justified. Okay, so the payment levels are really justified by the company's performance and industry trends. Okay, industry කොච්චරක් ගෙවනවද? ඒතර company ගේ performance based මේ කට්ටියට ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ. So they have to ensure these things. Okay. Okay, then when it's come to remuneration policy, you can see here issues connected with remuneration policy may include the following. So when it's come to this remuneration policy, so what type of issues the remuneration committee should consider when setting pay packages for directors? මොන වගේ issues වලටද remuneration committee එක මොන වගේ issues ද consider කරන්න ඕනේ? So when they are setting the pay packages for directors. මේ directors ලට ගෙවනකොට මොන වගේ issues ගැනද consider වෙන්න ඕනේ? Okay, the first thing is pay scales applied to each director's package. So they have to think about the pay scales, pay karana level. So they need to decide so what salary level is appropriate for each director. මේ directorට යාගේ තියෙන qualification එක, යාගේ තියෙන experience එක, යාගේ තියෙන performance එක අනුව මොන salary level එකද අපි යාට offer කරන්න ඕනේ based on their role and responsibilities as well. Okay, the next thing is the proportion of the different type of reward within each package. Okay, so the type of reward, this includes normally the fixed salary. So normally we are offering fixed salary and also the bonuses as well. And sometimes the companies are offering share options and also sometimes offering allowances and also sometimes the pension benefits as well. Okay, so what type of rewards so we are going to offer? So as an example, think about, so in a company, if we have a CEO, the CEO package might be made up 60% of fixed salary and sometimes 20% bonus, annual bonus, and also 20% long-term share incentives, and sometimes the share options value. So likewise, so what are the types of rewards so we are offering for the each director? And the next thing is performance related payments. Okay, the period within which performance related elements become payable. Okay, so in here the remuneration committee, so they have to decide when bonuses and sometimes other rewards should be paid. Sometimes usually also certain company performance targets are met. Okay, likewise. And then what proportion of reward should be related to the measurable performance or enhance. Okay, that means how much should depend on the performance. කොච්චරක් performance මත depend on කොච්චරක් performance මත depend වෙන්නේ නැද්ද? So likewise, so they have decide. So as a remuneration committee, so they have decide how much of a director's total package should be linked to the measurable company performance. So improvement in shareholder value. Okay. So as an example, think about the 50% of directors pay depend on the hitting the financial target and 50% is fixed. ලක්ෂ 5ක් දෙනවා ළමයි fixed amount එකක්. ඉතුරු ලක්ෂ 5 අපිට හම්බ වෙනවද නැද්ද කියලා decide වෙන්නේ company එකේ financial targets achieve කරොත්. Okay, so then as a director of a company, so they are trying to hit the financial targets. So that's the normal thing happen. Okay. And shareholder value and the balance between short-term and long-term performance element. And finally, the transparency of directors' remuneration. So this is very much important. I have told you, so these information are very sensitive information. The transparency of directors' remuneration, including pension rights in the annual accounts. Okay, so transparency should be there. The remuneration committee, so they must make sure that directors' total pay and also the what is the amount for bonuses, and if there is a pension entitlements are clearly disclosed the company's annual accounts. So this is not for the each person's name. That means the total amounts. Totally api kocharak. So these things should be transparent for the shareholders of the company. Okay, the total value. So as an example, think about if a shareholder see in the annual report that directors was paid by 50 million as an example. So they should also be able to see how that figure was made up. Okay, like that way. And the positioning of company. So what is the meaning of this one? Positioning of the company when it's come the remuneration committee. So when we are deciding on director salaries and rewards, so sometimes bonuses, packages, incentives, rewards likewise. So the remuneration committee, so they should also think about where the company's standards compared to other companies in the same industry or market. හරිද? අනිත් කම්පැනි හිතන්න උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මැනුෆැක්චරින් කම්පැනි එක එකම සෙට් එකේ තියෙන එකම බිස්නස් නේචර් එකේ තියෙන. එතකොට මේ කම්පැනි ඩිරෙක්ටර්ස්ලාට මොන වගේ සැලරි ලෙවල් එකක් ගෙවනවද? So they should have understanding regarding this one. That mean what I mean by the they, that mean the remuneration committee people. Okay. So this was highlighted actually in the UK Greenberg report. So they have reported highlight the number of factors which is remuneration committee should be considered. Okay, so these are the things they have to consider. So when they are paying for the directors, so compare related to the other companies. Huh? So recruitment and retention difficulties. Okay, so what is the meaning of this recruitment and retention? So if it is difficult to recruit or retain skilled directors, so higher pay might be necessary. හරිද? දැන් හිතන්න එයාට අපිට recruit කරගන්න ඒ වගේම ඉන්න කට්ටිය skill labels අපිට තියා skill directors අපිට තියාගන්න බැහැ නම් so මොකද්ද suggest කරන්නේ? So we have to pay higher salary. So as an example, think about in the IT sector, uh, uh, who are the person that we are taking. So experience, think about the cybersecurity expert. Okay, normally nowadays cybersecurity is very much important for every company. So think about in the IT sector, experience of this type of cybersecurity experts is high demand. Okay, so if we need to recruit, if we need to retain these type of people in our organization, so we have to pay higher level of salary. Okay, to keep them. Okay, likewise. I think you can got the idea. Then the behavior of others in the sector. The behaviors of others in the sector. That means what others are doing. Okay. So what other people are doing. So as a remuneration committee, so we need to think. So we have to think about the aware of pay trends in similar companies. Okay. So as an example, if all other telecom companies are paying 30 million for their CEOs, so what are the companies like? We'll take the dialogue. So they can expect attract top talent people for 10 million. Then dialogue with the CEO කෙනෙක් hire කරන්න යනවා කියලා. So then other companies they are paying for the CEO 30 million. So we cannot attract top talented people for our CEO position in our company for 10 million. Okay, so as a remuneration committee, so they have to think whether how much amount the other industry, that means similar companies, are paying for their directors. Okay. Then the next thing is level of competition. How much competition should be there? The level of competition. In here, if the market is highly competitive, the strong leadership is critical. Okay, so then as a remuneration committee, so they have to, so they should reflect these things. Okay. And risk challenges, complexity, diversity, and international spread of business. Those things also we have to check. And also special expertise and understanding is required. Okay, that means normally the business complexity. Okay. Uh, uh, if company normally operates across multiple countries, sometimes the multiple industries. Okay, in the normally if you take a John Case, Haley, so they are working in the different countries and also the different industries. Okay, John Case group, Haley's group, likewise, so faces unique challenges. Okay, so they are facing different type of challenges because they are doing their operation different countries, different industries. Okay, so different challenges are coming. Okay, so then, so the directors of the company should have special expertise and their pay should recognize this. Okay, their payment should be recognized this. So this type of thing should be considered by the remuneration company. Okay. Okay. So those are the main things coming under the what we call the remuneration committee. So only one committee we have discussed. So that is the risk committee. So it's include only 2 slides and then we are moving to one exercise. This is actually not available in this slide. So these things are you can do at home. After doing this risk committee, I will give you one task to do. Okay, so it include several MCQ type questions. So you can answer for those questions. Okay, so I will, if you have any clarification regarding the remuneration committee, what we have discussed, any doubt or any clarification, so are you okay? Okay, seems like no questions. So I will move into the risk committee. So I will give you 5 minutes to read these two slides. So what is risk committee and what are their main role and functions? Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to do this one. Okay, I'm not going to give you an interval for you. So, because you are at the home, I think, I hope. So, after doing this risk committee, so you will have, I will upload the MCQ based document. So whatever the things we have discussed in this lecture. So you have some questions, I think questions up to 25 or 30, I didn't remember. So you can type the answers only in the, I have uploaded the Dropbox. It's, you can type whatever the answers, huh? Okay, so first we have discussed this risk committee, then I will explain. So what is a risk committee? What we mean by risk committee? So I told you, so whatever the risk maybe arise, a risk arise for the company, so the managing part done by the risk committee. Okay, so why do we need this type of risk committee? So as I told you, so every business normally faces risk. Okay, it can be financial risk, it can be operational risk, it can be, as I told, in the cyber security risk, and also market risk, and these type of risks. So on. Okay, so if these risks are not properly identified and managed, the company can normally lose money and also reputation, sometimes even fail. Okay, so then, so companies must have proper system to identify and also monitor and control these risks. Okay, so some companies normally have separate board committees just for risk management. Okay, so these management team, so we are calling risk committee. Okay, so that's why the company need risk committee. Okay, so they are facing some type of risk, financial risk, operations risk likewise. So then, so as a company, they need to identify, properly identify and also manage. Otherwise, they are facing uh, a huge issue, that being the loss of money and reputation. So then company need to identify by at least appointing this type of committee. Okay, that's the requirement here. Okay, in the if the board doesn't have separate committee under UK corporate governance code, that code, the audit committee will responsible for the risk management. Okay, I told in the, when I discussed in the audit committee, if a company doesn't have separate risk management committee, risk committee, so audit committee is liable for this task. Okay, the audit committee, so they will have to take care of the risk management responsibilities. Okay, but in companies with significant financial market risk, like think about the banks and also investment companies, insurance firms. So likewise, so these companies is common to have risk committee because they will deal with large and also fast moving financial exposures. They have high risk. Okay, just an example, think about a bank like Commercial Bank or HNB. So they would definitely have separate risk management committee. Okay, take the annual report from the CSC and check whether so they have separate risk management committee or not. Definitely they have, because they have to manage their credit risk and interest rate risk and also foreign exchange risk every day. Okay, so they are facing these type of financial risk every day. So then they should have a proper and strong risk management committee for their company. Okay. Okay, now we are moving to the role and function of risk management committee. So what does the risk management committee do normally? What they are doing? I'll move into the one by one here, approving the organization risk management strategy and risk management policy. Okay, so they are approving. So this committee is, sorry, this committee is officially, they are approves the company's risk management framework. Okay, so which mean how we are going to identify risk and how we are going to measure and how we are going to report and how we are going to control these risks. Okay, so these things we are calling risk management strategy and policy. Okay, likewise. Then the next thing is reviewing the reports on key risk. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? Key risk prepared by the business operating units, management, and the board. In here, it means that the risk management committee, so they have to normally review these things regularly. Risk report prepared by the company's units, sometime the management. Okay, එක units වලින් risk management මොකක්ද කියලා identify කරගෙන යාලා report කරන දේවල් අපි regularly ඒ ටික review කරන්න ඕනේ. So as an example, think about whatever the example we have taken in previously. Think about the IT department. So they have report. So there is a increase of cyber security risk. Okay, so they have announced these type of things. IT department එක announce කරනවා cyber security threat එකක් තියෙන අපේ company එකට. Okay, so as a risk committee, so they need to study this and advise the board on what actions to take. හරිද? එතකොට board එකට report කරලා මොන වගේ actions ද ගන්න ඕනි කියලා they have to decide. And monitoring the overall exposure. So that means the monitor the company's overall risk exposure. So they need to check whether the total risk of the company is taking stays within safe limit approved by the board. Okay, so as an example, think about the company's total foreign currency exposure suddenly increase. Okay, so think about as an example due to new overseas business. Okay, so what the thing is, so as a risk management committee, so they have to check if this acceptable or if it is need reduce. හරිද? ඒක වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒක acceptable level එක තියෙනවද? එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක අපි අඩු කරන්න ඕනේද? Okay, so as a risk management committee, so they have to monitor company's overall risk exposure and assessing the effectiveness of the organization risk management system. Okay, so assess the effectiveness of risk management system of the company. So as a risk management committee, so they have to assess whether the company's internal systems to manage risk are working properly. Okay, so this risk management part normally we are discussing in the latter of the this course module. So then you can take a better idea. So what is risk management? Okay, මේක ළමයි වෙනම කතා කරනවා course module එකේ lecture series එකකට. So you can see you can see this from the session plan also. Okay, so please take an idea what happened in the risk management committee. That's enough in this level. And providing early warnings to the board. Okay, so they are the person, if there is a huge risk, if there is a sudden risk, so they are the person who liable for to report for the board of directors. The committee so keeps the board informed about new or increasing risk. Okay, so those are the actually things we need to highlight here. And in conjunctions with the audit committee reviewing the company's statement of internal control. Okay, so finally, so they have to work with the audit committee on internal control reviews. Okay, together with the audit committee. Okay, together with the audit committee, so they need to review the company's annual internal control statement. Okay, especially the part related to the risk management. Okay, so those things, so they are doing. So these things are the main job role of the risk management committee. Okay. Any doubt regarding this part? Okay, so you can do these questions at your home. So then, so any doubt regarding the risk committee? Okay, if not, so I am going to wrap up the today's session. So after that, I will give you a test activity to do. So what we have discussed today. So first thing is we have discussed the nomination committee. So the nomination committee, so they normally make sure that the board has the right people in place. Okay, the right balance of skill, the experience, independence, and the diversity. Okay, so those are the things we have discussed under the nomination committee, and their key responsibilities we have discussed. And next thing we have discussed is the audit committee. Audit committee we have discussed. So the main purpose of having audit committee is it is the financial watchdog. So you can highlight this word in the relevant section. So this committee is a financial watchdog. Okay, audit committee. So it is normally make sure that financial reporting and internal controls and also the audits, that mean the both internal and also the external audits are reliable and trustworthy. Okay, so that's the audit committee, having audit committee's purpose. Okay, then we have discussed the remuneration committee. So this committee is, I told you, a confidential and sensitive information are transferring here and there. So this committee makes sure that the directors are fair, so directors are paid fairly and responsibly. Okay, so not too much, not too low. So the directors are paid fairly. Okay, so enough to attract talented leaders, but not so much that it becomes an abuse of burden of shareholders. හරිද? අපි talented person, අපි fair payment එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද ළමයි? අපි ඉන්න කට්ටියව රඳව ගන්න සහ අලුත් කෙනෙක්ව attract කරගන්න පුළුවන් තරමේ salary එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Okay, that is the fair salary, fair payment. Okay, then we have discussed finally the risk committee. So the risk committee normally monitor how the companies identify and also how assess and how manage the risk available, risk applied, risk applicable for the company's perspective. Okay, it supervises but doesn't directly manage day-to-day risk. Okay, so those are the main committees we have discussed today. Okay, any doubt regarding this? Okay, now I am going to open the activity we have to do.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, could you please reshare the QR, sir?
sorry.
Before the time, can you please reshare the QR, sir?
That means the QR code.
Yes, sir. Yes. Before the time,
Ah.
my LMS was collapsed.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, I will give you only 2-3 minutes to scan this one. If you have not scanned, please quickly do this.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I think time is enough for that task. I think the activity is already available for you in the LMS. So what is the thing you have to do? So this is divided into two parts, part A and part B. Part B from a mini case is a simple case. So you have to answer both these questions. Okay. So what is the main purpose of nomination committee? So you have to go to the LMS and then put the question number. Sorry, first you have to put the part A and question number 1 and put only the answer here. Okay, part A, question number 1. So what is the answer? A, B, C, or D. So that's enough. Huh? මේක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ලියන්න ඕන නෑ ළමයි. ඔයාගේ LMS එක ලොගුනාට පස්සේ online text එකක් විදිහට type කරන්න තියෙනවා. Okay, part A එකට කියලා දැම්මා type කරා. ඊට පස්සේ question number 1. Question number 1 එකට මොකක්ද answer එක? A ද B ද C ද D. That's enough. Then question number 2. So what is the answer? A, B, C or D? Okay. Try to do this one. Go to the LMS and I think this is also available. So please download this document and then answer. Very easy questions are there. So you all know in the after the next week, so you also have a quiz. So it is 25% mark for your final assessment. Okay. So you have idea regarding these things as well. So whatever the things we have discussed up to that mean today, so those things will be tested. අදින් ළමයි corporate governance part එක ඉවර කරනවා අපි. Next week අපි ethics පටන් ගන්නවා. So then after the next week, so you will have a quiz on the corporate governance. හරිද? එතකොට අපි අදින් corporate governance part එක අපි ඉවර කරනවා board committees වලින්. ඊට පස්සේ අපි next week වල අපි ethics part එක කතා කරනවා. එතකොට ethics part එකෙන් පස්සේ සතියේ ඔයාලට quiz එක තියෙනවා corporate governance අපි මොනවද මේ දක්වා කරේ කියලා. ඒකට අදාළව quiz එක යනවා. ඊට පස්සේ quiz එකෙන් පස්සේ ඔයාලට පටන් ගන්නවා risk management part එක. Okay, so those things will be done by the Himal sir. Okay. Okay, 3 members have already submitted, so I will give you the remaining 30 minutes for the submission. And so if you have any questions, so you can ask. So otherwise, we can wind up the session. So but the remaining time for you to submit the answers, huh? Okay, if we haven't any further clarifications, so we can wind up the session. So we'll meet in next week. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Welcome.
sir.